Yeah, peace be on you, Dean Responds. I've come up to address the prompt of your live, I suppose.
Yeah, sounds good, bro. What are you, Trinitarian?
Yes, sir.
So, what denomination do you belong to?
I conform to the Apostolic Church traditions, closely aligned with the Catholic Church.
Okay. So, what's I saw that you wanted to bring something up from Mark. So, what's something you think proves Jesus is God in the Gospel of Mark?
I mean, the author of Mark, in the prologue in Mark 1, chapter 3, actually identifies the incoming, that who John the Baptist is to pave the way for is for the Lord. If he's quoting from the Septuagint, which I believe he is, if he's referencing into Isaiah 40, verse 3, then that means Kyrios in the Septuagint or Yahweh in the Masoretic. So that is an introduction to the divinity of Christ in the Gospels.
Yeah. So the issue here is, bro, um, as like scholars themselves, Christian scholars themselves have noted with regards to this, uh, Trinitarian scholars even, they've noted that this is agency. And the reason why they say this is because they give other verses in the Gospel of Mark where he's clear that he doesn't intend that Jesus is Yahweh. So I grant you it's a possible reading to say, yeah, he's calling Jesus Yahweh because he's saying Jesus is doing something and Yahweh's meant to do that thing. I understand your argument. Like that's a valid way of reading it, but is it a sound way of reading it in light of the whole Gospel of Mark? I don't think it is, right? So, yeah, I can grant you that it's a possible reading, no problem, but it's not a probable reading
Fair enough.
because, like, I can give you one example, like Mark 13:32, right? So, so I can grant
Can
you
I read this
I
with
can
you?
grant you it's a possible reading, but now when we go to this verse, I'm gonna say that the most probable reading is that Jesus isn't God.
In Mark 13, sorry,
32.
verse 32, regarding.
Jesus not knowing the hour.
Yeah, I mean, again, going to the Koine Greek, if I think the word know is oiden, right? Which is to declare. So
But
it's
you,
not
you
the
do believe as a
Son's.
semantic range where it can mean knowledge as well, right?
Potentially, but I think in this context it fits Brenton's Septuagint, Brenton's Koine Greek interlinear.
Yeah. So tell me why, because right now we're on between it meaning declare, and I can grant you it means declare possibly, but I'm gonna give you some reasons now why it's not a probable argument. It's not a probable case that you have with you. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm listening.
you can give me your case. Why do you think it means to declare in this context?
Because in terms of the limitations of like the human, I suppose, side of Jesus when it comes to his hypostasis, it's not for him to declare in his, human, in terms of his humanity, then and there, that in essence that he shouldn't be, or he, like with regards to that day and hour, no one knows. So no one declares,
No one
but not
declares,
even the
but
angels in heaven.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you some reasons why that's not the case. So the first reason is going to be that the context of Mark and Matthew is about cognitive knowledge. Have you read the context coming after this verse in Mark and in Matthew? Matthew 24:36 and Mark 13:32. Have you read the context afterwards?
Like, be on guard, be alert. You
Yeah, yeah.
do not know
So
when that
have you read
time will come.
the context before, right? Where you read from after Jesus doesn't know all the way till the end. It's fine if you say no, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no shame in saying no. So, have you read it before or not?
it depends my friend. It depends what you mean by context, because, like, if we look at the whole
Wait,
like
but
chapter
before you get to that, brother,
in
before you get to that,
totality.
just you haven't answered my question. Have you read the verses coming after Mark 13:32 and Matthew 24:36?
I have, yes.
Okay, so those examples Jesus gives, where he says, it's like a man going away. He leaves his house and puts his servants in charge. Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know when the owner of the house will come back. In Matthew 24:36, what he says after is, it's like at the time of Noah's ark, where the flood came and no one knew that the flood was going to come. And then he gives a couple other examples. All of these examples are cognitive knowledge, bro. It can't be about declaring. That's highly unlikely.
Which is for, I mean, in terms of our paradigm within like the Trinitarian hypostatic union, it's fair to say that the Son in his humanity did not know or did not declare the hour at
Okay,
that
okay,
particular
brother.
point.
I want you to, I can grant you the human nature not knowing, and we can digress from the declaring point. But first, I need you to agree with me that the declaring point is highly unlikely and it's a weak apologetic, because the context clearly coming after the
I'm not
verse.
gonna, I, I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not going to concede to your paradigm,
No,
good sir.
it's not my paradigm. It's the paradigm of the authors, or it's the paradigm of Jesus. After he says, "No one knows the hour but the Father,"
Well, the authors.
he then
So if
gives.
the author at the beginning of the gospel says, "Make straight the path for Yahweh,"
Yeah, but that's the
this
thing, bro.
doesn't follow my.
But that's the thing. I granted you it's a possible explanation that it is God Himself, but it's also possible it's agency. Now, why do I say why do I prefer its agency? Is because of clear texts like this, where like your apologetic mental gymnastics is exposed, because it doesn't work. So if either, bro, you can be honest and just say it doesn't work, declaring doesn't work. But now I'm going to digress to the human nature point that Jesus didn't know in knowledge. Then we can digress. But if you're not going to concede on that point, then you're not being honest.
Might be better if you bring someone else back because
Why is that?
I'm not gonna follow this.
Okay, let me put it this way, bro. The context itself coming after, Jesus gives examples about cognitive knowledge. Do we agree?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So why would he be referring to declaring if you have oiden that can mean declaring or cognitive knowledge? And then he goes on to talk about cognitive knowledge again and again and again. Why would I prefer your interpretation other than presupposing your worldview? I'm not presupposing my worldview. I'm just reading the text for what it says. More than that, Irenaeus says Jesus literally did not know. He doesn't mention the declaring stuff. Tertullian says Jesus did not know, talking about him having less knowledge. So your earliest interpretations say this. The text itself says it. Matthew 24:36, scribes were removing nor the Son from Matthew 24:36. And this is why St. Basil was like confused on what Matthew was saying. Does Matthew have nor the Son or doesn't have nor the Son? Well, he's confused because people are trying to remove nor the Son from the text. So yeah, it is so much evidence I can give you to heighten the probability that this text is problematic where Jesus has this knowledge. Now, we can move on into the Jesus doesn't know his human nature point, but you have zero, if you're going to continue with this declaring point, it's just nonsense, because can you cite me one early authority before the 4th century that actually says it means declare, not actual knowledge?
Right now I can't. I cannot
Okay.
provide you that
Okay,
evidence.
Bert, you seem like an honest guy. So I'm not going to like pin it on you right now and tell you, oh, you don't know, so you're baked or whatever. That's not how I do things, Bert. And if you've been watching my content, you would know that, right? I don't do that to people. So what I want you to do is,
I've only just seen you live now, man.
Okay.
I haven't. Yeah.
well, yeah, I keep things respectful. So what I want you to do is, you research the earliest interpretations, right? And you come back to me after you've researched the earliest interpretations, after you've read the context, and then we can discuss this one more time.
For sure. Look, I will. When you say what actually prompted me to come up, if you don't mind me like saying, when you say Gospels, are you talking like in terms of like the first three synoptics and John? Like, what's your definition of Gospels? Would you call it like New Testament canon as well?
No, I would say the four Gospels, because that's like where the historical Jesus' statements are being recorded. So my main point is that Jesus, because the reason why, like, I kind of specialize on this whole thing about the Gospels and the sayings of Jesus. I'm doing like in-depth research on them because the Quran itself talks about the Injil. It talks about what was revealed to Isa alayhi salam. So that's what I'm looking into, right? I'm looking into the four Gospels, the sayings of Jesus, his talking about the kingdom of God, his talking of the Paraclete to come. Like I'm specializing on that. So that's why I'm specifically honing in on the four gospel materials, the Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. And right now I'm just discussing the fact that he doesn't claim to be God in those documents.
Okay. No, all good. Look, if that's your criterion, then look, the first three synoptics and John, I mean, I can probably dare say that John provides a bigger case. I would also say Mark as well provides a bigger case for proving the divinity of Jesus Christ. Like, I'm happy to provide like extra.
But Barry,
Maybe one
the
more.
thing is, but before you get into that, before you get into proving the case for it, you have a mountain to climb first of proving that he doesn't deny his divinity. So right now I've exposed a massive wound for a Trinitarian, which is Mark 13:32, one of multiple that I could find in Mark. So you need to do your research on this aspect in terms of getting a strong apologetic in response to these arguments, because the academic consensus is against you. It's not for you. So whatever interpretation you bring right now that you might suppose proves his divinity still begs the question on how you're going to tackle the majority of scholarship right now that's saying that his divinity isn't discussed in Mark. Right?
Yeah, fair enough, man.
So I can give you those references before you head out. Because you are a Catholic, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just to let you know as well, do you think that Jesus not knowing the hour in his human nature was a possible apologetic you could run?
Yeah, look, it would depend what like epistemology that like the early church fathers, as far as I'm aware, they note that this is in terms of the human nature of Christ, obviously humbling himself. Like, I don't think this is contradictory to anything that the early church fathers talk about in regards to Mark 13.
It is contradictory to your counsels that are binding to.
What's your evidence?
Yeah.
Because I'm.
No problem. So, do you know what the agnoate heresy is?
I'll have to. Look, I don't know from the top of my head, but I have heard.
No problem. So, the agnoate heresy involves splitting Jesus into two persons, and one way you can do that is by saying the human nature has defective knowledge compared to the divine nature. So this is a apologetic that people outside of Eastern Orthodoxy and Catholicism can run. It's not something that you can run. That's why I was trying to get you to that point and tell you, listen, bro, the declaring point, it's not probable from the reading. Right? Yeah. So basically, I was going to tell you that you can't go to that because you're Catholic, and the declaring point is improbable based on the context and all the other stuff I told you. So this is like a really damning text, Mark 13:32. There's no good explanation that I've personally seen. And if you said the human nature point, even if it wasn't heretical, like if you're a Protestant, let's say, I would just tell you that this doesn't explain why the Holy Spirit doesn't know. That's why you see a lot of apologists today, they don't say Jesus doesn't know his human nature anymore. That's a lazy response, because Muslims will reply with, oh, what about the Holy Spirit, right? So that's why most people, they're running that Jewish wedding thing that you were trying to run. But a lot of the time, it's just easily debunked by the context.
Fair enough, man. Look, I'll go away and look at the early church fathers of what they say about Mark 13. I personally believe, like, regardless of my opinions of Mark 13:32, if this was a stumbling block and people had to come to conclusions, I don't think in terms of like denying the divinity of Christ on the basis in his humanity that he did not know the hour, doesn't necessarily like juxtaposition the case of denying the divinity of Christ. Like, especially when it comes to John's gospel, for example. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
would
bro.
you?
Yeah, bro.
I mean, can I ask
We
you?
can discuss.
If
Yeah,
you
we
don't
can
mind me
discuss John's
asking.
gospel. No problem. So, what are some texts that you think in John proves that Jesus is God?
With regards to, I think it's John when he declares himself as Lord of the Sabbath.
Yeah, well, bro, that's in Mark and Matthew. But yeah, okay. What sort of significance does that have? Like, what does it do? How does that prove that he's God?
Yeah, so I mean, the context is that the Pharisees are saying. Sorry, this is in Matthew. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
it's 11 or 12. Yeah, so Matthew is saying that. Sorry, Matthew is writing. In regards to like the people are. Sorry, when Jesus is surrounding himself with people who like. Hang on, give me 1 second.
Because in the context, Jesus is picking up food with his disciples, and then he brings the example of David and his companions. Right?
Yes,
Okay.
taking the bread from the altar,
Yeah,
right?
but all that means is, and Matthew changes what Mark says, right? Uh, so Matthew has, if I just read it here, if any, sorry, just go a bit back. So it's verse 7. So Matthew 12, verse 7. If you had known what these words mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the innocent. For the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath, right? And then what you have in Mark's version, let's just bring it up. I think it's in Mark 2 at the end. Okay. At the end here, it says, one Sabbath, Jesus was going through the grain fields, and his disciples walked along. They began to pick some heads of grain. The Pharisee said to them, look, why are they doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath? He answered, have you never read what David did when he and his companions were hungry and in need? Blah, 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 blah. Then he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. Okay. So Matthew takes away that context and he just says, yeah, the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath. So the context that Mark highlights is the Sabbath was made for man, not the Sabbath, not man for the Sabbath, meaning man takes priority over the Sabbath and his needs take priority over the Sabbath. So the Son of Man, Jesus, is able to dictate what is and isn't lawful in the context of what are the needs required for the people of God, his disciples and him, right?
Right. Right. I mean, but in like, if he's proclaiming himself as the Son of Man
Yeah.
and like the law, the
Where's where's
Kyrios or
where's where's the
Adonai,
bro? Where's Daniel 7? Sorry, where's the Son of Man from? It's from Daniel 7, right?
correct?
Yeah. So Daniel 7, the Son of Man is the people of God, right?
What?
Pull up Daniel 7 for me. Do you have a Bible with you?
Just on Bible Hub, yeah.
Yeah, go on. So pull up Daniel 7 and let's read from where it mentions the Son of Man. So just from verse 13. You know the angel. Explains the dream to Daniel afterwards, right?
After what?
After
The
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 dream.
image?
Yeah. Don't. We'll read it together. Now, I appreciate the good decorum and stuff, bro. You don't usually get that on here, so appreciate it.
Hang on 1 sec. Like, I understand decorum. It's one thing to speak on top of each other. I get it. Like, look, I'm a layman. I'm a student of knowledge. Look, I've read tafsirs, I've read commentaries, I've read church fathers. I don't hold knowledge probably as well as you and my other brothers as well. But anyway, let's look at Daniel 7.
Yeah, so let's start reading from verse 13 where it mentions the Son of Man. So first, before we read from verse 13, what precedes is nations are symbolized by beasts, right? We agree on that, yeah?
Are you talking about
The dream.
the dream
Yeah.
where like the head and the body, the torso and the legs
No,
and the feet?
that's Daniel 2. Daniel 7
And
replaces,
yeah, but I mean
yeah, go on.
it's interrelated.
So Daniel 2 is one dream that Nebuchadnezzar has. The dream that Daniel has is one of beasts, not of stature, but they're related. They're related because they're both representing pretty much the same thing. So let's
Yeah, exactly.
start from verse 13. In my vision at night I looked, and there before me was one like a son of man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days and was led into his presence. He was given authority, glory, and sovereign power. All nations and peoples of every language worshipped him. Well, you could translate this as serve him as well. His dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away, and his kingdom is one that will never be destroyed. So that's the Son of Man figure expressed. Then here comes the interpretation of the dream. So I told you the Son of Man represents the kingdom of God, the holy people of God, etc. Right? Then you were confused at me saying this. So let's read what the angel says. The angel says, Daniel says, I, Daniel, was troubled in spirit, and the visions that passed through my mind disturbed me. I approached one of those standing there and asked him the meaning of all this. So he asked a man, but the man was an angel. So he told me and gave me the interpretation of these things. The four great beasts are four kings that will rise from the earth. But the holy people of the Most High will receive the kingdom and will possess it forever. Yes, forever and ever. Okay? So the angel tells him the four beasts, they represent four kings. The Son of Man is the holy people of the Most High. Okay?
Sorry, in relation to the people being like a collective of
Yeah.
like the sun.
Yep.
Sorry, can you just repeat that again, please?
Yeah, so the four great beasts, so this is verse 17. The four great beasts are four kings that will rise from the earth. But the holy people of the Most High will receive the kingdom. So remember, the verse we read before was the Son of Man receiving kingdom. Will receive the kingdom and will possess it forever. Yes, forever and ever. And then if you want another verse where he's talking about the Son of Man figure clearly, it's verse 22. He says, until the Ancient of Days. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, I just want to like stick to one point.
Yep.
So in Daniel 7:14, he was given authority, glory, and sovereign power.
Yep.
All nations and peoples of every language worshipped him.
Yep.
I mean, his dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away, and his kingdom is one that will never be destroyed. So whose kingdom will not be destroyed is clearly the Son of Man's, right?
Yeah, but the Son of Man is identified as the holy people of the Most High. Because remember, these symbols in the dream represent nations. It represents Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, Rome, right? These are the nations, right? They're being represented.
And the fifth kingdom is debatable.
Yeah, so then the fifth kingdom, you'll say it's Christians, we'll say it's the Muslims, and then scholars will disagree on who it is, right? So the point is...
I've heard it all.
Yeah, so, I mean, but we can discuss that if you like, but the point is that in verse 22 it says, until the Ancient of Days... Here's another text from the same explanation. So we read verse 18 says, the holy people of the Most High receive the kingdom.
18.
And then verse 22 says, until the Ancient of Days came and pronounced the judgment in favor of the holy people of the Most High. And the time came when they possessed the kingdom. So the Son of Man figure is clearly the people of the Most High. All right. So it's fine if you had a misunderstanding. It's fine if you had a misunderstanding of it. You can just say, like, to be honest, you can identify the collective as one person, no problem. Like Jesus and the church is identified with Jesus, right? You can say that, but
Yes.
but the issue was that you were mistaken in believing that the Son of Man cannot be identified as a collective. That's why you were confused. I just wanted to clarify that for you. Okay, so knowing this,
So, I
it
mean,
makes yeah. Go on.
Dean, if we go back, like, how would you sort of, I suppose, not sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? If Jesus says that he's the Son of Man
Yeah.
who is like Lord of the Sabbath, what are you saying that Jesus is like multi-personal in terms of
No,
his
no, no.
like?
I'm saying Jesus, not just Jesus. Jesus and the people, they, because humanity takes precedence over the Sabbath, they are lords over the Sabbath, not Sabbath lords over them. That was the whole point that was in Mark that Matthew omitted. Remember, Mark says that Sabbath was made for man, not man made for Sabbath. That's the point being made there.
Yeah.
So it's not I don't find it convincing for a claim of divinity, but the point I expressed to you before with Mark, it's found in Matthew too. Matthew has no one knows the hour but the Father. So Mark and Matthew aren't some gospels you want to. They're not ones you want to go to for divinity of Jesus, bro. Like it's not looking good. But that's why that's why I asked you for John. Like I was hoping you would give me one from John. So do you have anything from John that you have in your mind that thinks like yeah, clear cut Jesus is God here?
Um, Look, Dean. I've got to head off, man. Look, I've actually learned something out of this live.